green light is on for the 2024 British Touring Car season. We head to Donington Park for the national layout for weekend 1 of 10. Let's join the British Touring Car trackside commentary team to take you through the first practice session of the year. Let's join them now.
Pretty much, I think, working the way onto circuit.
I think I've got my head around what we're going to call them. So the first section of qualifying is Q1 broken into 2 groups.
Yeah.
And then we go into Q2 and then we go into Q3.
Yeah.
Does that make sense for you?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We'll do that. We'll try not to get confused.
I mean, I'm just, I just like words. So I needed to, so for the first group, if you like, where we've got the odds and evens after FP2, it's not Q1 and Q2, is it? It's one qualifying session broken into 2 groups. So I've been just struggling to work out how exactly we would describe it so it's simple. So
yeah,
that's my decision.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Yeah, okay.
You're in charge.
There's a worry.
So, cars heading round then. Let's see what's going on. This, as I said, they've had that launch day, that media day, chance to get to grips with the car. But this is now the nitty-gritty bit. You start to get into the race weekend. You start to try a few more things. You see the competition start to ramp up as well. Some of the cars will head back into the pit lane. Some will decide to stay out there on circuit. And we can't always read too much into these times because we don't know who's holding back and who's going full flat out.
Daryl de Leon has not been out yet, and when you see the car emerge, you'll be incredibly impressed. It has Duckham's livery and looks pretty spectacular, it has to be said. It's in the garage at the moment. Daryl is getting himself ready to get into the car, but that car has yet to emerge, yet to break cover.
Okay, so we'll wait for him to come out. He is going to take part in a full season this year. Did a few races last year, 15 in total. But the youngster, who is only 19 years, in fact, no, he's 18, isn't he? He's not even 19 yet. So 18 years old is Daryl de Leon, and he'll be heading out very shortly to try and get his season underway. He was a man who took part in the Radical S1 Championship back in 2021. Radical's with us this weekend, of course, with 3 races, but that's where Daryl de Leon pretty much started his racing career after moving from the British Kart Championship and the UKC Ultimate Karting Championship as well. But full-fledged championship year ahead for Daryl after a bit of a taster last year. So as we said, a few cars have headed into the pit lane, a few have stayed out. Now Jake Hill back once again with his Laser Tools machine. Looks magnificent as ever. A little bit more shiny this year maybe. It's got the lovely glisten to the top of the car as it works its way down the pit lane, but Jake Hill in contention all the way to the final few rounds last year, but just didn't quite have enough, did he, in that Laser Tools machine. But again, he's on fine form this year to try and put things right and take the challenge, as we said, to all of those around him. The 2 Vauxhall Astras now been pushed back into the lane. And just to talk about the new drivers for this year, or returning drivers it should be. We've got Ash Sutton, of course, who stays with Napa Racing UK for this year in the Ford Focus ST. They keep their same lineup of Dan Rowbottom with Dan Camish, and also that of Sam Osborne as well. So they're the 4 drivers for Napa Racing UK. We also have Team Bristol Street Motors, which is back with Tom Chilton. Also, Nick Halstead is back with the team, along with Tom Ingram, and also the youngster Ronan Pearson. So that's a 4-car team for Team Bristol Street Motors. We also have the Toyota Gazoo Racing UK team. So they will be running the likes of Andrew Watson, who switches to that team for this year, and returning to the championship. Nice to have him back, Rob Huff, for this season. He'll be out there with Toyota as well.
He was so jolly this morning when he came into driver briefing. He's somebody whose career I've watched around the Toka paddock for since it started, really, in car racing, and he's a great personality, a great driver, and he is an upbeat kind of guy. He's a positive kind of guy, and his energy this morning was extremely welcome when he arrived. So welcome back to Huffy.
Indeed, yeah. To be
world
fair,
champion.
Yeah, he definitely is. And to be fair, looking at his kind of stats of years gone by, he's only done 36 touring car races. And
it was only one season.
Yeah.
So he competed in the BTCC as a result of. So check this out for a prize. If you won the Seat Cupra Championship, you got a paid-for drive by Seat UK in the BTCC alongside Jason Plato. It was then. And also you, so this is something that Huffy tells. He tells this story really well. It was also advertised that the winner of the championship would also get the use of to sort of extend the racing driver lifestyle look. You would get the use of a flat in Monte Carlo for the year. So nice. you'd be the yeah, you say nice. It wasn't until he discovered that it was Jason's flat in Monte Carlo, and if he wanted to use it, he'd be sharing the flat with Jason. So he said it came with some challenges over the course of the year to be sharing a flat in Monte Carlo with your teammate. It was. He tells the story really well, and it was the start of an exceptional career. Won the World Touring Car Championship at Macau, the final meeting of the year in 2012, and became a world champion from essentially winning a championship and becoming a touring car driver as a result of winning it. So what a career, what a way to do it. Huffy, very much known for the World Touring Car Championship, and also very much known for being the master of the streets of Macau. He is just on another level through Macau. Takes a brave driver to be good at Macau.
Definitely does, yeah. Some brave people take on that circuit. Only some of them appear as winners. But yeah, Rob Huff just seems like he's been around for years. He has been around for years, but I'm just saying it seems like he was in the Touring Car Championship a lot longer. But as you said, just the one season, but has made a few dips back in. But for Rob this year, it's going to be a full campaign in that Toyota Gazoo Racing UK machine. So the Toyota Corolla, which he runs, two-time winner within touring cars, but World Touring Car Champion back in 2012, as Alan said, and also the WTCR Trophy Champion in 2022. To add a few more titles to that as well. He was the Seat Cupra Championship winner in 2003. And since then, he's also been a TCR Scandinavian champion a few years ago as well. So a wealth of experience for Rob Huff. Who else have we got out there for this season? Well, we've got two more Toyota Corollas, which run under the LKQ Euro Car Parts with Syntec banner. That is going to be Aidan Moffat and Josh Cook back for this season. So both of those switch to Toyotas for this year. We also have the Cupra Leon as well, as we mentioned, of Daryl De Leon. And of course, not forgetting the Team BMW cars of Colin Turkington and also Adam Morgan. And we have that one of Jake Hill as well, which is the Laser Tools Racing with JBMotorsports. Also, to look forward to for this season, we have got brand new to the championship, Scott Sumpton with Restart Racing, brand new team with their two Cupra Leons. Scott's teammate for this year will be Chris Smiley, who is also a regular within this paddock a few years ago. But Chris makes his return to the championship this year as well. And just to round things off, we've got Aaron Taylor-Smith in the Evans Hallshaw Powermax Racing Vauxhall Astra, and back with him once again in that team is going to be Mikey Doble, and that gives you the full complement of entrants we have for this year. Very strong pedigree across the whole field, so really looking forward to how the three races unfold across the course of this weekend. So a few times have come in, not a huge amount. People are just doing the cycle that they normally do in these free practice sessions. They head out for a lap, check things over, come back in, change a few more things, head back out. So it's just kind of a first test of the weekend. They'll get a little bit more competitive as the session draws to a close.
Daryl De Leon is in his car now. It's being the number 18 Duckham's with Bartercard entry, and just a final few checks going on inside that car before I think we'll be seeing him out on circuit, Matt.
Good, that's nice to hear. So hopefully things are looking good for Darrell and he can get some laps in here for the first time today. Ronan Pearson's the only one that's done the competitive-ish time, 1:11.874. He's the only one that's really gone across the line to complete a lap. So Ronan finds himself at the top of this session. We're going to be aiming for probably about 1:07, at least when we get to qualifying. That's the qualifying lap record set by Ash Sutton on a 1:07.570 from last year. So that's the time they'll all be aiming for as the session wears on. And of course, the hybrid energy management system is once again back for this season. There have been a few tweaks over the course of the winter just to make it again a little bit more competitive and bring the closeness of the drivers even more together, which is hard to believe, but they have tried to just change a few things. You'll be able to keep an eye on who's on hybrids throughout this session. They can use it pretty much unlimited. It's when they come to the qualifying session and the races that the hybrid energy management system will come into effect for this weekend. The first time and the only time throughout the year they'll all be on an even kilter, won't they? Because as we move through the year, your hybrid for qualifying then is determined by your championship position, and for the races as well, it all depends on where you finish in the previous race. So that changes slightly for this year, with a 50% use for the drivers of the racing laps for those outside the top 7, and for those who finish inside the top 6 will have a reduced number of laps to use that for the races, and they also have a higher speed that they can deploy the HEM across the races as well, but that will become apparent as we move in to tomorrow, but not too much to worry about. You'll see the blue flashing light on the side of the car. That will be an indication that the drivers are on hybrid. When it goes red, that means that they've completely used all of that hybrid, have no more left, and then when it goes white, it means they've got no more deployment on that current lap. So that's a little bit of a background on hybrid. Adam Morgan now completes the lap, so car number 33 goes through, and Adam not again that competitive in terms of this session so far, just done a 1:17.1, but time's now starting to appear on our screen. But Ronan Pearson, as we said, the quickest so far, and great to have Ronan back for this season as well. Another youngster, as we mentioned about Darrell de Leon being just 18 years of age. Well, Ronan Pearson, he is now 22 is Ronan, so the man from Fife in Scotland, be heading back to his home circuit of Knockhill later on in the season, but took part in his first full campaign of the British Touring Car Championship last year. Didn't manage any wins or any podiums, got very close on a few occasions throughout the course of 2023, but that was his kind of first foray into the championship. He's learnt, he's now a lot more experienced, and with the team underneath him from Team Bristol Street Motors with the Hyundai, the former Mini Challenge racer, will be looking to try and get himself onto that podium and potentially across the course of this year maybe take a few wins along the way as well. So look out for Ronan, looking good as we said in this session at the minute. There's Adam Morgan through for another lap, and he was on the hybrid across the line there as well, so he does improve his lap time now to do a 1:12.861. Colin Turkington has also completed a lap. He goes third quickest in car number 20, and Jake Hill is there in car number 24. He has gone fourth quickest. They are the four to set the times so far. There's Scott Sumpton into the pit lane. Another magnificent looking car, so the livery on that is looking very nice indeed for Scott Sumpton. He pulls himself now into the entrance to the pit lane and pulls up in front of his garage as well.
He was in good spirits as well.
Was he?
This morning, yeah. He's our only complete rookie coming into the championship, and yeah, I sat next to him in driver briefing this morning, and yeah, he was very excited. He's a jolly guy. He's a really friendly guy, and clearly excited at the prospect. Who wouldn't be of a full season in the BTCC?
Definitely, yeah. If you get a chance to drive a car in the British Touring Car Championship, then you would take it with both hands, wouldn't you? So Scott Sumpton, another youngster actually. We've got a breadth of youngsters in the field this year, which is great to see. So he's just 19, is Scott Sumpton, and he's done various touring car categories around Spain and here in the UK as well. Previously raced with a Honda Civic and a Hyundai, but this is going to be a new car for him. and jumping into a new series for him as well. It's going to be very interesting to see how Scott Sumpton gets on. But he's got a fairly experienced teammate in the former Chris Smiley, and Chris has made his way back into the lane as well. So both of those for Restart Racing have now come to a halt in the pit lane. But for Scott so far, I don't think he has yet recorded a time within this session. So yeah, still just making a few tweaks to the cars down there. Dan Rowbottom into the Toka technical area. So if you're in the grandstand overlooking that, you'll have a magnificent view of the cars this weekend as they roll in from their sessions. And Dan Rowbottom just taking the chance to check the car's weight and everything's okay with it. That's one thing you don't want to be caught out with at the end of qualifying. So just making sure that car is all good. And again, looking magnificent in the Napa livery, which all of them run for this year once again. So it's going to be quite hard to pick them out, but David Addison, ITV commentator, did a grand job of sending us some information about how you can pick out the different cars. Napa have got different sun strips and wing mirrors. That's the only way I think you're going to be able to pick them out from the front, unless you've got good eyes and you can see the numbers and the name of the driver on the side of the car. But there are little tweaks in terms of those that are livery together that will just spot them apart from everyone else. And it's Dan Rowbottom who has the white sun strip, and also the Cataclean helps pick out his car as well. So off he rolls, and he'll be back down the lane very shortly. Adam Morgan, by the way, has now gone quickest, so he's getting quicker and quicker, and we're down to a 109.099 as Jake Hill works his way now into the pit lane once again, joined by number 77, which is Sam Osborne. Sam has the yellow wing mirrors with a blue sun strip, so hopefully you're following where we are at the minute, who's got what. Second is Colin Turkington now, so the BMW's towards the head of this free practice order. Third place then for number 11 is Andrew Watson. It's going to be good to see how Andrew gets on as well, because that's another driver, as we mentioned, who swaps from a previous team to a new team. So change of car for Andrew for this season. Previously, of course, was with Mikey Doble and Aaron Taylor-Smith at the Vauxhall Astra team, but for this year, Andrew Watson switches again. He's done his first full campaign within the British Touring Car Championship, and last year managed to muster up a couple of podiums, and in total 93 points to end his season. Another man with a wealth of experience, actually, with high-level GT racing that he's come from. Since 2015, he's been in the FIA World Endurance Championship. Also, he was in the 24 Hours of Le Mans, along with GT World Challenge Europe races and also British GT. So Andrew Watson's previous has been with GT, so it was a massive switch for him last year to move into the British Touring Car Championship. Began his career actually way back in 2011 at the age of 15 when he took part in the Ginetta Junior Ireland Championship, and did well in that. The thing that he did pull out of last year actually for his season was the Jack Sears Trophy champion. So that's a brilliant accolade for Andrew to have coming into this season. So he was the champion in the Jack Sears Trophy for...
Got five entrants in Jack Sears this year, so that will be hotly contested as ever it is. And there are a couple of names in there that you would think, hang on, haven't they had a podium? And you might be right, but then after post-race stewardship, podiums either were instated or not instated. So just 5 drivers that are competing in the field this year are eligible for the Jack Sears Trophy, in as much as they have not yet had an overall podium in the championship. Correct.
I see what you mean now by Darryl de Leon's car. That looks brilliant, doesn't it?
It looks really smart, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Celebrating, what is it, 125 years for Duckham's. So I'm sure it will be doing an outlap and then a few sort of shakedown laps into the pit lane. Yeah, exactly that. But it's I would imagine going to have 1 or 2 laps, come into the pit lane, be checked over, and then that's the way free practice 1 will go, I think.
Yeah, so you might be familiar with the Duckham's livery. That's been run on Adam Smalley, most notably in the Porsche Carrera Cup of Great Britain last season. So Adam Smalley ran that. I think Dan Camish ran it a few years ago as well, didn't he, in Porsches? So it's a livery you might be familiar with if you're a fellow regular visitor to these touring car meetings or watch them on on ITV4 at home, which again continues its coverage this year once again. And as Alan said, with Michael Crease down there, TikTok is a new thing for this year as well. So going into the unknown, but one of the first, if not the first, to do it within the world, to broadcast a live sporting event on TikTok. So if you have TikTok, make sure you catch up with the British Touring Car Championship, and that's how you can view it this year as well. So a new initiative being taken by the Championship, a very good one as well, keeping up with all the trends within social media. Another wealth of cars coming down the pit lane. Chris Smiley is back in. We've also got Josh Cook. Be interesting to find out his thoughts this weekend. Again, another man switching to a new car. And Andrew Watson follows him in as well in the red and white Toyota Gazoo racing car. Pulled up alongside him down in the pit lane.
It used to be that Josh, this was the circuit that he would very much look forward to, because he would go so well at Donington Park, and then Thruxton kind of eclipsed that, because he's won more BTCC races than anyone else down at the Hampshire circuit. But before he got a name as the Thruxton expert, he was very much the Donington Park expert. So be good to see how Josh goes this weekend. You're quite right, Matt.
Yeah, the king of Thruxton is being...
By the way, it's never good when you receive a text message in the pit lane on the first day of a new season from a former double champion listening at home, saying, "I'm listening intently to your informed words, so don't get it wrong." So John Cleland, hello, is listening at home, and it's good to have John listening.
Do you reckon we could tempt him back into a touring car?
I think we can tempt him back into, well, he'd still be as quick as ever he was.
Yeah.
And he does get the opportunity to race his old Super Touring Vectra on occasions, and beautifully kept it is. And he's known to strap a trailer on the back of his car and transport the car himself to various events up and down the country. So yeah, he'll always be competitive, that's for sure. When you say can we tempt him back, I thought you were going to put at the end of that into a commentary box. And yes, at Knock Hill this year, I think we probably will make sure that he does join us at some stage.
Brilliant. Morning, John. Nice to have your company wherever you're listening within
it's good, isn't it?
The world. It's brilliant, yeah.
I like that.
All these things you can do nowadays.
Well, ITV will start broadcasting later on today. On YouTube, and they will, and all day tomorrow, of course, they will cover the racing and qualifying today on YouTube. But for real fans of the sport, we're probably the only audio companion that you can find to take you through everything that's going on a Saturday morning. So Matt, this is our chance, mate. This is our chance to shine.
We'll do our best. That's all we can do. We'll promise anyway. I'm going to give you a task this morning, Al.
Oh yeah, I like tasks.
Just head maybe down towards Rob Huff's area, because he's just come in with the left bodywork hanging off. So I don't know what he's been doing.
I think the advice for drivers today is not to go off.
No.
Because the grass is very, very squidgy, and nothing you can do about that. The huge amount of rain that we've had for week after week, incessantly, month after month, has taken its toll on farms up and down the country, on fields, on all sorts. But also, of course, we're surrounded by grass here at Donington Park, and if you go off the circuit, then yeah, you won't get much retardation, that's for sure, and it'll probably be quite tricky to recover a car.
Certainly will, yeah. They've got the gaffer tape out quite quickly, so they've patched it up, but I'm just wondering if he's maybe caught one of the tyre bundles trying to cut the corner a little bit too much.
I'm not far away from his garage now, so is he still there?
Yes, he is, yeah.
I'm at the back of the garages because it is the quickest way to walk from garage to garage, and the radio mic works as well in the paddock as in the pit lane. So thanks to Nick for making sure that we can be heard. And I'm at Huffy's car now. They are now, as far as I can see, doing regular things to the car, checking tyre temperatures, and the Goodyear technician making his way around all four corners. So, bit of, oh, is it the left rear you're talking about?
Yeah.
Not too much, nothing to worry about. Just so if you're a mum looking after a little boy that had been out playing on the on the football pitch, you put an elastoplast on it and say, you tap his knee and say, there you are, you're good to go.
Don't do it again.
So it's just 5 little strips of red gaffer. You won't even notice it if you're trackside. I'd love to talk to Huffy, but he's busy at the moment. He's talking on the radio to his engineer, and I saw he was doing that first thing this morning as well. It's natural for a driver of the kind of level that you have in the BTCC to be wanting to use every single available opportunity, every little moment to have a word. And yeah, there's a scuff on the right front as well, the scuff of a tyre stack on Huffy's car. So left rear, right front. Never let it be said that he's not pushing.
Exactly. 2 down, 2 to go. Simple as that. So Rob Huff is back in the lane, but all looking good in terms of his car. He is currently just inside the top 10 actually within this free practice session, and most of the drivers now have got a competitive lap time in. Still waiting for Scott Sumpton along with Chris Smiley and also Tom Chilton to set some good laps. But again, this is not imperative that they get a time in. It's just to make sure the car is good for later on in the day. By the time they get to qualify, they want to have everything set up perfectly. They want to have the best car they possibly can have. So if it does mean you're in and out every single lap, it doesn't matter. As long as you set that car up to what you prefer, then that is all good. So we'll keep an eye on those 3 to try and get a lap in before the end of the session. But as it stands, it's the Napa Racing UK Ford of Dan Camish, which is quickest.
Number of tweaks to the regulations this year, not just qualifying that Matt and I have already touched upon, but also, of course, to the hybrid deployment and the amount of increased performance that you get from hybrid deployment this year will be pretty exceptional, I think. They were talking this morning about speed differential between cars that will be with the hybrid deployment and without it. And the fact that they are talking about that, it's going to have a significant effect on the overall performance and ultimately on the championship this year. So that's something exciting to look forward to as well.
Certainly is. Now the 3rd year of hybrid energy, so it's just been tweaked every single year just to make it a little bit more interesting for everyone watching and those taking part as well, just to enable more overtaking to happen. And yeah, from
what I hear, Matt, the drivers love it.
Do they?
Obviously drivers love power, don't
yes.
they? They love that increase in horsepower, and yeah, you can see that they're going to have to carefully think about this year, and the deployment is going to be probably going to change the nature of the car completely, I would imagine.
Definitely, yeah, I really think that's going to be the case. And just to kind of put it into summary, that cars from 8th on downwards will be able to deploy hybrid power from a reduced minimum speed, so lower than those ahead, ensuring those drivers can utilise the additional power quicker than the lead in order. So say you're coming out of a corner onto a straight, you can use that power more efficiently than the cars who finished in kind of 7th place upwards. You can then use that to your ability. So it is going to make it very interesting indeed, as Alan said. So very much looking forward to how that works for the first time tomorrow. So we have now 6.5 minutes to go within this first free practice session for the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship. And we've got, I'd say, probably 3/4 of the field out there on circuit at the minute. So everyone heading their way round. The last few cars will more than likely head onto the circuit very shortly to get some final laps in before the session comes to a close. And it might be an interesting point maybe today, more tomorrow maybe, but the weather we might need to start thinking about. I think there is a small chance of some rain today, so when that falls, that could be another factor to add into these drivers. So getting as much information as they possibly can in the dry conditions, whether they equate to anything later on today or later on this weekend, we'll have to wait and see. But we know what the weather's like. We know it can change by the drop of a hat, can't it? So we don't always look massively into the weather, but we'll see if that has a bearing across the course of this weekend. There's Adam Morgan across the line. He was out of hybrid across the line because that light panel on the side of the car, you can just see if you are on the start-finish line, it goes white. If it goes white, that means you have run out of your deployment on that lap. If it goes red, you have run out of your deployment for the entire session or the race you are in. So they are the lights you can see on the side of the cars. There goes Ash Sutton through then, the 4-time British Touring Car champion, looking for a record-breaking 5th this season. So far for Ash Sutton. He is inside the top 10. He's up to 6th place now. That lap was an outlap for Sutton, so this might be a quicker one as it stands. 108.770 is his quickest time so far. And within this session, the top 8 covered by less than half a second. So if you wanted anything closer, you're not really going to get it, because it is very close once again as we start a brand new season. Here comes Tom Ingram. I'm sure he's as lively as ever. I'm sure he'll be speaking to Al across the course of this weekend, but Tingram is a great character, and
he is looking very very lean and post-winter, as so often he does at the start of the year, because if you ever listen to Autoglim Tin Top Tuesday, which is a touring car radio show, 8 o'clock Tuesday night on the official BTCC app and website, btcc.net. Tingram is a regular on Tin Top Tuesday, and he likes his food, does Tingers, and he has a very strict diet over the winter to get ready for the start of the year. And then we try, as the course of the year goes on, to destroy that and make his overalls by the end of the season a bit snugger than they are now.
That's the thing, though. You can probably be good at, on the weekend, but as soon as the weekend's over, then you just try and fall back into that same nature, don't you, of just eating what you want.
It's very dangerous, but I mean, the point is, for a commentator, it doesn't make an awful lot of difference. For a driver, it makes the world of difference. Even Huffy was telling me this morning how much weight he has lost over the winter to get ready for this championship year in the BTCC. So, yeah, they're all very aware of it. The winter is not the time for most of us. It's in time to enjoy a cherry bakewell or two and all that kind of stuff. But for the drivers, it's a time to get lean and fit and mean.
Certainly is, yeah. Anything you can take off in terms of weight does help you in terms of your advantage within the car as well. Adam Morgan working his way into the pit lane very slowly. Hopefully there's nothing to worry about, although he has stopped on the pit entrance.
No, he's sort of got his second wind, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I wonder if he was just wondering whether he was going to be called into the technical check area, and that's where he's gone. So, but it was a last-minute decision either by him seeing the lights or by the team to bring him in. So it was, I think that's why he came to a stop. Nothing anything to worry about.
Always love the start of a season as well, because you see these new liveries, and there's only a slight change to the BMWs, but it's a nice one. It's kind of got the 2 outer stripes down the outside of the car. It's just different from last year, which is a slight tweak, isn't it?
Talking about the technical check area, it reminds me of a John Cleland story, actually. Cleland's on my mind now. I know he's sitting at home listening, but he tells this story so brilliant. He played a prank on Alan Gow, the championship boss, many years ago, and it's always very amusing to play a prank on the boss, isn't it? Until you get payback at the next meeting. And the instruction from Alan Gow was that every time that John came into the pit lane the following race weekend, he was called to the technical check area. So he couldn't do a single entry to pit lane without being called for technical checks. Oh dear.
When you do a prank, don't do it on the wrong person.
Well, fortunately,
the
prank was good enough to have been worth it. But you can only imagine how frustrating it would be. And also, when the penny finally drops as to why you are being called in so often. Oh dear.
Colin Turkington back into the lane as well. We've got just over a minute to go, so that first session has almost flown by, with lots going on out there. As we said, lots of testing to be done, final bits of testing for the drivers, just to make sure the cars are as tip-top as can be, and Tom Chilton works his way in now as well. So yeah, again, as the majority of the cars out there on circuit, just to get their final laps in. Here comes Jake Hill to complete his penultimate lap of the session, and Jake Hill currently down in 12th place, so 109.161. All cars, I think, bar Tom Chilton, have got a lap in, so Chilton's the only one that may have a slight problem, but again, he might just be doing his runs within this first session and then saving all of his energy for session number 2. But the majority out there have got some good laps in, which is crucial to start their season with now 20 seconds on the clock. Dan Camish is quickest, Tom Ingram is second, Dan Rowbottom third, Colin Turkington fourth, and Aidan Moffat fifth. I'll run you through the complete order once the checkered flag has come out, as the Astra of Mikey Doble goes through to get on to one final lap as well. And so does Ronan Pearson, just uses his hybrid as he goes across the line. Slight change there as well. You can now not use it within the next 5 seconds after it has been undeployed. So it's a 5-second break before you can then reuse it. So it kind of stops drivers ending one lap and going straight back onto it. So that's another change to the HEM for this year as well. First car to take the checker flag is going to be Josh Cook, just outside the top 10. He goes through. Tom Ingram, a one-time champion, looking to maybe make it 2 this year. He goes across the line and in fact goes quickest on that final lap. So Tom Ingram leaving his best till last. Jake Hill heads his way into the pit lane, and just a few more cars to take the checker flag because everyone else I think is in the pit lane. So Ash Sutton, Aaron Taylor-Smith, Sam Osborne, Ronan Pearson and Mikey Doble are the only ones to take the checker flag, as Daryl DeLeon in that wonderful Cupra with the Duckham's livery celebrating 125 years now works his way into the pit lane. And that wasn't a bad session for Daryl, down in 19th place. But again, he did get a lap in, 113.328 for him. There goes the reigning champion Ash Sutton across the line, carries the number 1 for this year again. And didn't improve on that final lap, did Ash Sutton. Ronan Pearson into the pit lane. So the only one now to come through should be Aaron Taylor-Smith, and he will hopefully be working his way down towards the final chicane to complete his lap. Whether it's on the circuit or into the pit lane, we'll wait and see. But the order at the end of the first free practice session is as follows. Tom Ingram, car number 80, was quickest at 108.110. And that was quite a good lap, actually, because he was over 0.3 of a second quicker than the next car in line. And when we said to you kind of 15 minutes to go, the top 8 were covered by just under half a second. That is a very impressive lap there for Tom Ingram. So he goes quickest in free practice 1. Second place then for the first of the Napa Racing Ford Focuses, that in the hand of Dan Camish, car number 27, did a 108.433. Third place at the end of that one was number 32, teammate to Dan Camish, that being Dan Rowbottom. His time was a 108.551. Fourth place, the first of the BMWs, car number 20 for this year is Colin Turkington. His time was a 108.589. Fifth place then for number 16 was Aidan Moffat in his new car for this year and new team, a 108.645. Just behind him was number 33, that being Adam Morgan, in 6th place on a 108.689. Then we saw last year's champion, 4-time champion now, Ash Sutton, in 7th place with a 108.753. 8th place, number 40, was the first of the Vauxhall Astras, that being Aaron Taylor-Smith on a 108.853. 9th place then for number 11 in the Toyota of Andrew Watson, a 108.913. 10th place for number 77 was Sam Osborne in the next to the Napa Racing Ford Focuses. He did a 108.959. 11th place then for number 66 was Josh Cook. His time was a 108.977. Behind him in 12th place, number 24 is Jake Hill, 109.161. 13th place, number 12 was Rob Huff. His time a 109.227. 14th for number 14, Ronan Pearson, 109.308. Mikey Doble came next up in 15th place. Car number 88 did a 109.320. 16th for Triple Two, first of the Restart Racing Cupras, Chris Smiley on a 109.985, just ahead of his teammate Scott Sumpton, who did a 110.218. 18th place for number 22 was Nick Halstead. He did a 110.956. 19th for number 18 was Daryl DeLeon, 113.328. And the only one not to set a time was Tom Chilton, although he did do a personal best in the first sector on his previous lap before he came into the pit lane. So just testing things out, I'm sure, for Tom Chilton, but he was 20th at the end of that first free practice session.
Okay, let's end it there. That's the end of free practice 1 for the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship, the first session of 2024. You can join us for free practice 2 at 12:35 British summertime. That's another 35-minute session as well. Currently on the channel right now, and you'll be redirected to Formula E qualifying, and also on the channel is MotoGP qualifying as well. So, free practice 2 at 12:35. Hopefully, we shall see you there.